Considering how my bedroom used to be, this is an improvement.
It's true, Roger. But
It's true.
We're streaming live now. And there he goes. All right. It's not that we don't want you to see Roger. He just doesn't want you to be distracted by him. All you'll do is look at Roger all show. All right, here we go.
This podcast is made possible by listeners like you at patreon.com/acedetect. Offer void where prohibited. Your mileage may vary. Product may contain nuts.
This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, July 14th, 2015. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, as she does most Mondays, even though today's Tuesday, Veronica Belmont. How's it going?
You totally ruined my Happy Monday joke.
Oh, you can still do it.
Happy Monday, everyone.
Let's just pretend it's Monday.
Great start.
We're just going to pretend it's Monday from now on. Also joining us today on this Monday, Jessica Conditt, senior reporter at Engadget. How's it going, Jess?
Hey, good to be here, guys.
Thank you for joining us. We got some interesting stories to talk about to bring your mood back up from yesterday's show, a little forward in the show. But let's start. Veronica, would you like to do some headlines?
I would like to do some headlines.
All right. Beacons are one-way transmissions that give you information for what you're near. Bus stops, shopping discounts, things like that. You hear about iBeacon all the time. That may be the most familiar one. Google is launching something called Eddystone. It's an open-source cross-platform Bluetooth LE beacon. That's low energy. Eddystone is cross-platform for Android and iOS and open-source under the Apache version 2.0 license, though Google will do its little Android thing where they'll have an open-source platform but then offer their own proprietary products, a nearby API and a proximity beacon cloud service. Unlike most beacon implementations, Eddystone will support multiple what they call frame types. So that, for instance, the iBeacon from Apple has a universally unique identifier, a UUID. Eddystone will have that, but it will also have good old-fashioned URL support, ephemeral identifiers for security, and something called telemetry, which will allow you to do some diagnostics.
I'm not familiar with the term ephemeral identifier.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this before either, but I guess the idea is that it will only go to you if you're authorized. So you only get the transmission, you only receive the transmission if you're authorized to receive it. They use the example of like keys, for instance, lost keys or a lost phone. You wouldn't know about lost phone.
No, I wouldn't know anything about a lost phone. Dang it. So is this a walking advertising platform essentially, or not a platform, but an easy way to deliver ads to us on the go?
Yeah, it can be, right? Like that's where all the money is. So that's probably what it's going to be used for, most of it. But I think what they're trying to do with Eddystone is saying, hey, let's open source this so people can come up with all kinds of different ways to use it. And I like the public transportation example. One of the things they showed was that right now with GPS, they can't tell which side of the street you're standing on. So they could tell you buses are coming north or south, but with something like Eddystone, they would be able, because you're in proximity to the beacon itself, they'd be able to say, oh, you're standing by the northbound bus stop. We'll only send you the northbound times.
I wonder if this will be better than something like geofencing, because I feel like geofencing, you know, I realize that there are separate technologies and they do different kinds of things, but in a way they're kind of giving you the same outcome in some ways in terms of location-based information. But at the same time, you know, GPS and geofencing is so power intensive. It takes so much power on your phone to actually have that running in an ongoing way, and being able to make the most of it. It just drains your battery. But I'm wondering what the power situation. I mean, if it's Bluetooth,
low energy,
that's
LE.
pretty, low energy. I mean, that's a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, right. It's my turn to read now. Nokia is getting to be like that friend who said it really is going to finally start that project they've been talking about. You just wish they'd stop talking about it and get on with it. Reuters reports that Nokia confirmed Monday that it may start designing and licensing mobile phone handsets under its brand name in 2016. It just needs a partner to take on, you know, the little things like manufacturing, sales, marketing, and customer support. The company stated that a Nokia-branded phone would not arrive before the fourth quarter of 2016, when its deal with Microsoft allows Nokia to sell phones under its name again.
It's like, it's so on again. Like, they leak out something and they say, well, we can't really confirm that. And then the next day they confirm it. And then they confirm it again later. We get it. Nokia is going to come out with phones. Somebody else is going to build them. That all makes sense. Question is, by the time they can put these out, will the ship have sailed on Nokia phones, or are there, and we know smartphones in particular are maturing as a market. Will they be able to trade on that name? Will they be able to make inroads in new markets?
Maybe in some kind of like, oh, they're old school. Oh, it's retro.
Jessica, would you buy a retro Nokia phone?
Well, I was looking at some like mock-ups of what they could look like, and yeah, these like bright neon with huge chunky cases and big old buttons. I think they would do well in Japan, because I feel like they still use those like flip phones, and they use those kind of old school. They love that. I don't know why, but it just is a thing. So maybe that's where Nokia should head. Just go to Japan.
Yeah, go to Japan for the style. Maybe Africa, Southeast Asia, India for the entry level stuff. Yeah, I would like to have a candy bar smartphone. If anybody can make it work, maybe Nokia can.
Would you? Would you really?
No, not really. I do have fond memories of my old candy bar phone. I just don't think it's possible.
Okay.
Search Engine Land reports Google is preparing to reopen Mapmaker, the one that had all kinds of problems with people contributing updates that either weren't true or possibly offensive. They've got a new moderation procedure that will rely more on community moderators, meaning updates could take a little longer to be added, but they would have to be reviewed by the community. And the company said the tool will reopen in phases beginning early next month. Google will hire qualified regional lead candidates. Now, they throw around the word hire. I don't know if that means they're paid or volunteers, but they will vet them, regional lead candidates, to moderate, and some edits will still require Google approval.
All right. Yeah, that's good. I mean, nothing ever bad came of community moderation, so I really...
Just ask Reddit.
What's the worst that could happen there? Anyway, moving on. Engadget passes along that sources tell the information that Facebook is developing its own virtual assistant called Moneypenny. Moneypenny would live inside the Facebook Messenger app, and the sources say it would actually have real people answering your questions. So kind of like Amazon's Mayday button meets Siri.
Yeah, that's clever. It remains to be seen if this project is real, or even if it is real, if it ever comes to market. But that would be a smarter way to do things, don't you think? If you kind of there's that startup Magic that does this too, where you can text questions and they have real people. Yeah. So that could be a way Facebook provides something that's a little different than just, oh, here's another virtual assistant.
How about stop making me use Facebook Messenger?
That'd be great. Can they do that?
Well, you don't have to use it.
Facebook Messenger.
If you want to live in this century, you do, though. It's a shame. Yeah.
It is sad. You're right. I find myself using Facebook more and more, even though I don't really care to. I'm not against it or anything. I just, I don't know. I find it befuddling the way it's organized.
Mm-hmm.
CNET reports.
Wait, I want to go back to that. What exactly do you find befuddling? I'm curious.
You know what it is? It's that I haven't used it enough to know where everything is, and it's definitely not the kind of site where you can just look at it and say, oh, okay, there's the new things, and there's where I message people. Like, there's the news feed, but then there's the other profile feed, and then finding the things that you posted and the reactions to them are all at different places. It's just I haven't hit the learning curve, that's all.
Okay.
It's better on mobile, though, like their mobile site, and that's because a lot of sites optimize for mobile now, because that's where the market is. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
CNET reports that Apple Pay has launched in the United Kingdom, but not all the banks announced as partners made it to the initial launch, but they'll get there. HSBC and First Direct said they will join later this month, and Lloyds, Halifax, and Bank of Scotland will supposedly be supported in the autumn. There's also some of the cards putting purchase amount limits on there, in some cases as low as £25. But hey, Apple Pay in the UK, the London way.
Ooh, that's a title. That's a title that has nothing to do with the rest of the show that we're talking about. I am happy to report that I'm finally able to use Apple Pay on my watch as advertised. So, yay, a new feature on my watch. I'm so excited. All right. Recode reports Comcast is starting a streaming game service in partnership with Electronic Arts. In the initial test period, a random group of Comcast subscribers who have X1 set-top boxes will be able to play for free. You can volunteer to be randomly selected at xfinity.com/xfinitygames. The service will use a smartphone or tablet as a controller and focus on casual games like Plants vs. Zombies and FIFA 13. Data used will count against any data caps that you may have as well.
So no net neutrality controversy here.
Yeah, I mean, clearly I haven't tried this yet. Also, I don't have Comcast, but has anyone seen this yet?
No, who wants to, though, is the thing. That's my question.
Yeah, it does start to feel like a little bit like the video games in the seat backs on airplanes.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, video games, and then you look at them, and then you try to play them, and then you're like, forget it. That's not. I mean, maybe it'll be much better than that. The X1 set-top boxes, by all accounts, are actually very good. So, you know, it's not like they're underpowered. So I wouldn't expect them to play badly, but it's casual titles, older titles. You have to use your phone.
Well, that's the thing.
Control.
The funny thing is about, you know, the whole problem with mobile gaming is that the hardest part about mobile gaming is having to use the touchscreen as a viable controller. So being like, this is a feature, you have to use your mobile device, your tablet, to control these games. It's like, oh, like I'd rather maybe rent a controller from you for like $20 a month if it's going to come to that. But yeah, I don't see this as being particularly. It sounds like they wrote it in somewhere and let's do this. This will be fun. Why? Why are you doing that? Nobody wants that. Everyone has Xboxes now. Who cares? Why would you do this? I don't know. Unless it was, it is going to be free, so that's good. I mean, at least they're giving
at first during the trial
you something
anyway.
For free.
Yeah.
For now. Probably not forever.
I mean, Jessica, do you have an idea of who this would be for? Because obviously Comcast trying to test something that makes it not be just an ISP, right? That they can eventually charge for.
Right, and this is, I mean, it has to be for people who have Comcast, who have the X1, and then don't have an Xbox One or a PS4 or a Wii or a Wii U even. Not that many people have a Wii U anymore, but yeah, it's got to be for these people who don't have consoles but are kind of getting into this new gaming thing. And I really don't think that playing video games on a tablet or a smartphone as the controller, that's not the way to introduce people to games, even casual ones, because it's just not a very good experience. So I don't know. I wonder about this one, but hey, maybe this is a good idea. I guess we'll see. Everyone has a smartphone, so could work.
Yeah. I get the idea behind it for sure, but like you say, like even Plants vs. Zombies has a timed element to it, and when you're dealing with smartphone controls that are disconnected from the screen you're looking at, right? Because you have to look
scary.
up. Yeah, it just it doesn't really work.
They're making fun of me in the chat room because I said $20 a month for a controller. Yes, that was just a stupid example. I don't really mean they should charge $20 a month for the controller. I'm just saying, whatever. If it was part of your package when you bought your darn set-top box, you'd be like, here, and then throw in this controller.
Yeah.
That's what
maybe that's what they'll find when they do this. I think it's
Monday, guys. I'm really tired. Like I have crashed myself from the weekend. You know, I'm still kind of on Sunday time. I'll get there.
The Guardian found data hidden in the source code of Google's transparency report that reveals information about the people making right to be forgotten requests. Of the roughly 220,000 individual requests made to Google in this report, less than 5% concern criminals, politicians, or high-profile public figures, which are often used as examples of problems with right to be forgotten. The data covers about 3/4 of the requests made to date. Google has since updated the source code to remove that data.
Way to go.
Well, because it doesn't help. Their case is like, hey, when we're removing these things, we're removing relevant data from these types of people. And if the requests are coming from private individuals most often, that kind of undermines that case.
Mm-hmm.
We get lots of great suggestions for stories at our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Thanks to the more than 5,000 people who are in there participating, and of course our amazing mods. If you haven't stopped by, you ought to. It actually has a great fountain of tech news on its own, just if you want to see a great cross-section, and it helps us figure out what to put in the lineup. You've heard some things that were submitted there already. starfuryzeta sent us the Gizmodo report that Mozilla blocked all versions of Flash starting Monday night as a result of multiple zero-day vulnerabilities. And then, of course, Adobe today released a new version of Flash that Firefox does not block. But pretty intense move there on Mozilla's part to be like, you know, we're just not going to deal with this anymore. This is unsafe. We're going to block Flash till they fix it.
Good for them. Yeah, I'm totally on board with that, actually.
Maybe that'll get more people using Mozilla.
Maybe it will. DrewCPU sent us the news that Reddit's chief engineer, Bethany Blount, sorry if I'm saying her name incorrectly.
Bethany Blunt? It would have been my guess.
Bethany. That's better. Bethany Blount confirmed that she has left the company because she didn't think she could deliver on promises being made to the community. She said, quote, "There are some very aggressive implied promises being made to the community in comments to mods, quotes from board members, and they're going to have some pretty big challenges in meeting those implied promises." Blunt has been with Reddit for less than 2 months. She came over from Facebook?
Yes.
I believe, yeah. She came over from Facebook. I think she's going to leave to do her own startup now, was what I believe I read from Recode. But this is people are jumping ship at this point now, I think, because it feels like a pretty aggressive environment over there right now, and we're getting a lot of mixed messages from the board members and from Alexis, and it's getting kind of intense.
I read an interesting story on TechCrunch, or an interesting take on TechCrunch today, and I wish I still had it open so I could credit the author, but they were basically saying this is kind of normal for Reddit. Like, things just tend to happen, and then Reddit keeps chugging on. And I the point was, at a certain point, too many of these types of things can undermine them, but they don't think that they've hit that point yet. It does seem like, if you look at the Reddit front page, it looks just as weird as it does any other day. So it's situation normal there. And subreddits are active. I mean, they could still mess it up, but it's easy to overblow what's going on at Reddit because of these kinds of departures. But at the same time, someone leaving and then talking, I think, is the most significant part of this. She didn't just leave and say, no, I've got nothing to say. Everything's fine. I'm just going off to pursue my own projects, which is what people often say. She's saying, they told me to achieve something I didn't think I could do, so I left.
And that's a similar message we've heard from a few other employees or former employees speaking out and saying, actually, there's some shady things going on here. I didn't agree with some of the policies, and that is a little concerning because I don't think that happens every day. And it's not every day that like the moderators of the AMA forums get to write an editorial in the New York Times.
Right.
Like that. So there is something happening. I don't think it's just standard business dealings right there.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see what comes of all this. Is Reddit just going to kind of return to is the way things were before the shakeup started, or are there going to be major changes? I mean, they seem to say so, but I feel like the community just wants it to kind of go back to the way it was. So are they going to do what the community wants, or what's best for the board, or I don't know what's best. I mean, thank God. I'm glad I'm not on that board.
I get the feeling that
I'm not at all involved in that company.
Right. I do get the feeling that Alexis Ohanian has a vision, and if you don't fit with that vision, then you hit turbulent waters, whether it means you get removed or you just get frustrated and quit, or you run into problems with the community and you leave. I think for good or ill, there is a stabilizing force there that's sort of behind a lot of the good and the bad that's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a stabilizing force, but okay.
Yeah, it's a bad metaphor, but it's a consistent force. Maybe that's a better word for it. And that's a look at the headlines. All right, so yesterday we had the very sad news of the death of Satoru Iwata of Nintendo. So today we wanted to take a little bit of a look forward, and thankfully we already had Jessica Conditt booked to come on the show, and you wrote an article about Jade Raymond starting a new job over at Electronic Arts along with Amy Hennig, to work on a Star Wars game. Those are all good news, and these are two bright spots in the game industry right now.
Yeah, and this is this is so exciting, honestly, for me, because these are two people who have been in the industry for a very long time, had their hands in super impressive and notable franchises in the industry. So Jade Raymond is now with EA. She was at Ubisoft, and she actually ran Ubisoft Toronto. She had a hand in producing the Assassin's Creed games, so she helped with Watch Dogs. She knows her AAA. And then Amy Hennig, who is at EA, she's been there for a while. She is at Visceral, which is an EA studio. She's working on Star Wars right now. Now, she's the one who wrote like Naughty Dog's pivotal franchise, Uncharted. She was creative director. She wrote like all of the Uncharted games. She even helped with the new one, and that one isn't out yet. But she joined EA before that one came out, or before that one was even like announced. So this is cool. These two are going to be working together on EA's, I believe, third Star Wars game in recent memory. Yeah, very exciting.
I guess my question about this is, first of all, it's amazing news that these two women, like you said, are involved in this major project for EA. And Star Wars games in the past have been kind of hit and miss. Where there's been some good titles and some bad titles, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think this would have been as big of a story if it weren't Jade Raymond, if it were just another studio chief moving from one studio to another?
No, this is definitely a story about these two women, these two people. And yeah, it is notable that these are now two women in two very powerful positions at EA, in charge of this huge franchise, Star Wars. Like, this isn't the little leftover bits or anything. So that is notable still in our industry to say that, yes, these two women are in charge, and that's cool. And people are excited. So that's what really made me happy, was that it wasn't comments of, oh, it's going to explode, it's not going to do well. It was a lot of people saying, awesome, I loved Assassin's Creed, I loved Uncharted, these two women are working together, these two people are working together. That's amazing. So that really is cool just to see the excitement, too, that a lot of people are feeling about this move. And I think, so like, yeah, EA has Star Wars The Old Republic, which is that MMO they have, It has lost a lot of fan support over the years. It wasn't quite as renowned as EA really wanted it to be.
It's the definition of hit or miss, all in
honestly,
one, right?
Yeah.
Because I played it when it launched, and there were some amazing things that they did with the lore and the way they gave you quests, but they were just not able to sustain it, I guess.
That's absolutely what it seems like. People, players started dropping off, and then it's kind of where it is now. It's still around, but hardly. And then now we have Star Wars Battlefront as well. That's coming from EA's other studio, DICE. They do the Battlefield series. So Star Wars Battlefront actually looks really cool, I think. I played some local co-op of that at, I believe, at E3 just a few months ago or a month ago. EA messes with my mind. I don't even know what year that was. It's too many things. Yeah, so that looks really cool, and then this is going to be something probably more narrative-driven, this new Star Wars game, if they have Amy Hennig kind of running it, yeah.
What is this going to mean for future Uncharted titles? That's what I want to know, because, Uncharted is probably one of my, as well, favorite series of all times. And, Amy has always been really the driving force behind that and the creative vision behind that series. So what have you been hearing about this? Are people nervous about the future of the franchise?
Well, so I was at E3, and they had the big, at the end of Sony's conference, they had this big Uncharted demo, and it was very fun. A lot of people very excited. So, like, the excitement is there for Uncharted still. It hasn't been proven that, the writing is terrible or anything yet, yet. Hey, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
So, yeah, the extended demo that Naughty Dog released, it shows, some pretty cool writing. It's very much an action game, and then there's some classic, like, Indiana Jones style twists and funny lines and all that. So there's still some pretty solid, game makers going into this. I don't think the excitement has died down for that franchise yet, but I am glad that we are at the end of that series, and that is, Amy Hennig's kind of, masterpiece, and she did see it all the way through. At least to the beginning of the development of this game, yeah.
And I noticed in the Wikipedia biography of Hennig that there are a couple of citations of her talking about her belief in the creative direction holding more importance than the graphics of a game, and that totally just mirrored many of the things that Satoru Iwata had said. And I think it shows that this is what makes for a great designer of narrative is somebody who says, let's make the technology serve the storytelling.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Nintendo lived by that. Like, they came out, the Wii U, you know, they came out, and it was not this graphical powerhouse that the Xbox One and the PS4 was. So, yeah, but they proved, obviously, that you can have awesome, fun experiences if you have a solid story, if you have a solid character, if you have the mechanics down. The graphics don't actually mean as much, you know, like I never concerned myself with, you know, 60 frames per second or anything like that. I understand it definitely helps for like competitive shooters and all that. I get that. But I don't need it in my experiences. That's why I like a lot of the indie titles as well, because they do have a focus on narrative and, you know, creating dense worlds that you really feel like you can live in. So I feel like with that kind of mindset, now EA also has Frostbite Engine, graphical, like, extreme powerhouse that they have. So we have solid narrative, solid graphics, if the technology works. EA, we're watching you. And so it should be okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's the fact that this is Star Wars, you know, I think is fortuitous, because it does look to me as if we are getting in the gaming industry the kinds of reputations around people that we've had in movies for a long time. Somebody who wrote a script in the 20s was unique if anyone knew their name. Now we always talk about the screenwriter, you know, who wrote the script for that, who directed that movie. So J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan working together on Star Wars The Force Awakens is important to us to know, because we have faith in the past work of those people. And this feels like the new version of that. Jade Raymond, you know, she started as a programmer at Sony. She worked on Sims Online. She worked on Assassin's Creed. Amy Hennig started for Atari doing a game called Electro Cop. Designed Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City. So a long resume of amazing things. And of course, Uncharted topping the list. You have a star writer and a star producer working together and on Star Wars. So it seems like it would be positive.
I think so, yeah. And it's interesting. Yeah, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, you know, I was reading some of the comments on Engadget, and I think they really mirror a lot of the other sentiment around on the internet. Is Jade Raymond still hot enough to work in games? I think this is really the most important question.
You had to bring that up.
I think Amy Schumer can answer that, actually. Can we get her on the line?
Yeah.
I hate the internet. Ah!
I know, some days, man.
Right, oh, no kidding. I didn't realize they were women. I don't see gender. I'm told they're women, and I believe it. So thank you for pointing that out.
Very good.
But yeah, check this out. You've got the story. Jessica's got the story up at Engadget.com. And of course, Jessica does lots of great coverage over at Engadget as well. And congratulations to Jade Raymond and Amy Hennig. I looked at both their Twitter feeds, and they were just filled with responses from people who were seriously excited about this appointment. So it does warm your heart.
Yeah, I do. I just love the vibe around Star Wars right now. Like coming out of Comic-Con, and you know, the excitement around the films and the excitement around the game and the cast just being so thrilled about it. It's just, it really feels like the film we've been waiting for. I mean, you know, after the prequels, and you know, they were. Yeah, there was mixed feelings about the prequels, but I think this really feels like the next coming of Star Wars to me in so many ways, and like a really fantastic, not reboot, but like reinvigoration of the films.
Of the franchise, yeah.
The franchise, thank you.
All right, let's get to our pick of the day. Nicholas needed to work on two different machines. I had to pull data from one to work on the other, and I know what you're saying, get a KVM. Well, Nicholas said, I don't want to clutter up my desk with a KVM. And then I know a bunch of you are saying, well, what about Synergy? And Nicholas said, nah, they dropped their free version, and I'm cheap. He didn't say he was cheap, actually, but he did say he always looks for free alternatives. So here's what he found. I stumbled upon Mouse Without Borders by Microsoft Garage. They set up was a breeze, installed on both computers, sync via security codes, and voila, it's working. Most importantly, it's working great. You can set up to 4 computers, choose to lock the mouse to avoid accidental switching if you want. There's no master-slave relationship between the machines, meaning that you can use the input devices from any of the linked computers to control the others, and Synergy doesn't work that way. The share clipboard functionality does seem a little iffy, he said, and he couldn't get the share file functionality to work at all, so if those are important to you, you might need to keep looking for something else. Also, it's Windows only, so if you're a Mac person, it's not going to work for you there. But he said, overall, though, if you want to share a mouse and keyboard over different Windows machines. It's painless and completely free. We'll have a link to it in the show notes as well. But thank you, Nicholas. As a reminder, these picks are not sponsored. These are just your picks for things you like to use. You can send your picks to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com and find my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks.
I'm so surprised that they think that a KVM takes up all that much room, because for me it's just one tiny button next to my laptop that I push back and forth.
I'm imagining Nicholas has like a white desktop with nothing on it.
That sounds nice. Okay.
Just
good for him.
Clutter free.
All right.
Yeah. I got a couple emails before we get out of here. Chris in Toronto said, as you stated during yesterday's pick, power line networking can be hit or miss. I recently tried the same hardware mentioned, the TP-Link 500 megabits per second power line kit, but found a glaring issue. Despite it advertising speeds up to 500 megabits per second, the ports on the device are only 10100. I found that it was not fast enough to keep up with full 1080p. All of that said, these devices have dropped in price significantly over the years, and they seem to work well enough for lower bandwidth applications. I should mention that there are kits that supposedly support gigabit speeds, but they are more expensive. So thanks for that add-on, Chris in Toronto.
Hey, Tom, did you know what today is? What it's the anniversary of?
Well, I was going to say today is the day we finally added Pluto to our photo collection, but I didn't. What's it the anniversary of?
It's the anniversary of the Comcast call.
Oh, your Comcast call.
Yes.
Is it really? Like it was a year ago?
Yeah, and I only know that because Cory Doctorow tweeted about it this morning. I was like, oh, it is. Oh,
my only sadness around that call is that we didn't get your side of the conversation recorded, only Ryan's.
I know. It was it was probably for the best. I sounded kind of crazy and a little bit like I'm about to cry. But anyway, so I thought it would be appropriate to read this email over here from John. He writes on the Comcast 2 gigabit service that you guys mentioned yesterday on the show. He says, I had to chuckle thinking about Comcast 2 gigabit service and the fact that unless you bought some specialized commercial grade networking equipment for your home, you probably wouldn't be able to get above 1 gigabit per second. Any consumer router or switch is going to max out at 1 gigabit per second, effectively having your $300 a month service, $300 a month service. Then again, I doubt they can get above 20 megabit per second during peak hours.
Ba-da-ching.
Love the show. Keep it up. Your boss from Billings, Montana office.
Hey, thanks, boss.
I'm sorry, is that MT? MT is Montana, right?
Yeah, I think that's Montana. Billings is definitely in Montana.
It is, right? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. 20 megabit, you won't have a problem during peak hours because no one else can afford the service. So
well, yeah, Peter Rojas actually yesterday was tweeting about this because he was thinking of setting it up and he wanted to get on the horn with someone from Comcast and really talk to them about it. And he was on the phone for hours and nobody could answer his questions. And nobody really knew the answers to his questions. And they're like, we just haven't been briefed on this yet.
Yeah.
We don't know. Yeah, so they're not, I mean, you can't even talk to someone about this right now. It's kind of weird. Yeah.
Too early for that. Well, it's starting in Boston, I think, is where they're rolling it out first. So maybe there's a customer service group in Boston that's been briefed by now. I don't know. There is a $500 installation charge and a $500 installation fee. So there's like and it's up to that, depends on the installation, but up to $1,000 just to get it installed. I'm going to guess. I'm going to be charitable to Comcast without knowing for sure that includes a router that can deliver 2 gigabit per second speeds. It would have to be for it to be that expensive, and it would make sense because they'd have to give you a commercial grade router.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's really expensive.
It's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, in San Francisco we have Monkey Brains, which monthly is much cheaper, but the installation is far higher. But you
is it
pay
gigabit?
that off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. I don't remember. I think yes. 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 But it is nice that these things are starting to roll out and people are getting, I mean, this is, it's definitely going to improve speeds for a lot of people, Comcast subscribers. But yeah, you got to pay the money for it.
Their market is the rich kids of Instagram. There
you go.
That's fine. Yeah.
They really need their Instagram videos to load fast.
Exactly.
Thank you to John, Chris, and Nicholas for your emails. And thank you, Jessica Conditt, for joining us. This was great. Thanks so much for taking some time to chat with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was awesome.
Go find Jessica's work at Engadget.com, and they can follow you on Twitter at Jess Conditt. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
JessConditt. DITT. 2 T's at the end. Part of the 2 T's at the end club, along with myself.
Only one.
Anything on the horizon to tell folks about?
Yeah, so we're going to have a bunch of Gamescom coverage coming up. That's the big convention out in Germany. So please stay tuned to that. And tomorrow we're streaming Wind Waker as our tribute to Iwata. So please tune into that as well. Yeah.
Very nice. So you just go to find the link at Engadget.com for those?
Yeah, we'll have a post and everything, and I'll be tweeting to Storm about it. So don't worry about that.
Excellent. Veronica Belmont, also on Engadget, hosts Ask Veronica, upon which Jessica has been.
No, dear Veronica.
Dear Veronica is what I said. Totally, that's what I said, Dear Veronica. Because you wouldn't ask Veronica, you'd say Dear Veronica, and then you'd write her a question.
You know, I almost named the show that, and then I didn't, and now I think maybe I should have named the show that because that's
everybody
what
does
calls
that.
it.
I'm sorry about that.
Totally fair. But yeah, Dear Veronica, new episodes every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Nope, noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. Get those backwards sometimes. But yeah, I've got a couple of special guests coming up in the next couple episodes. I got a certain Tom Merritt coming up next week. And I've got Mr. Patrick Norton submitted an answer for a question about home automation. So that'll be the week after. So yeah, it's gonna be a co-host-a-thon, former and current co-host-a-thon over on Dear Veronica, which is always fun.
Excellent. Dear Veronica, as it is written down right in front of me right now on Engadget.com. Go check it out. Thank you to our patrons, 5,058 of you are willing to back us on a regular basis on patreon.com and make the show possible, and we literally couldn't do it without you. It allows us to have Jenny and Roger and Veronica and all of our contributors putting together the show Monday through Friday every week. You guys are the best. Patreon.com/AceDetect if you would like to join them, or if you're feeling like becoming a co-executive producer and upping your pledge, or if you just want to go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support for all the different ways to support the show. If you're like, I can't commit on a regular basis, but I'd like to help out maybe just once, you can do that too. One way is buy a DTNS shirt. We have regular DTNS shirts with the logo on them. They make great gifts. Or if you're going to Nerdtacular in Salt Lake City at the end of this month, you can get a special Nerdtacular version. It spells out Nerdtacular on the back of the shirt with all of our names cross-hatched in there. And you can get that at the store and have it shipped to Nerdtacular for free when you use the code 2sides. That's at dailytechnewsshow.com/store. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 51259-DAILY. Listen to the show live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and listen to it at alphageekradio.com. Visit our website at dailytechnewsshow.com. We'll be back tomorrow with Scott Johnson. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Great show. Thank you, Jessica.
That was awesome. Yeah, thanks, guys.
That was really fun.
That was cool.
We're going to
That was
stick
great.
around and name the show along with the chat room, but if you need to go, take off.
I do. Well, yeah, thank you guys very much. This was cool. I'd be glad to be back at any time.
Yeah,
So,
come back soon.
Okay, cool. Bye.
What should we call it?
A hacker, a faker, updated Mapmaker.
Oh, that's so good.
Well done, Dark Redeemer. If we go with that, that would be 2 in a row, I think, for him.
Mm-hmm. Then there's also it's also Dark Redeemer, Exoddit. As opposed to Exodus, Exoddit.
Oh,
I
EX.
get it.
Oh, yeah, you kind of have to look at it.
You have to look at it. Pretty genius.
Which is good. It works for print.
Apple Pay in the UK the London way.
That's too long.
You're too
really-
long.
Really enjoying internal rhyme scheme today.
Don't make fun of my curmudgeoniness.
You're too long.
Stop making fun of my curmudgeoniness. wait.
Curmudgeoniness. Curmudgeoniness.
Everybody to the limit. Everybody to the limit.
The beat is to the limit. Everybody come on for Hogosad. Say come on for Hogosad. Say come on for Hogosad. Everybody to the limit. The beat is to the limit. Everybody come on for Hogosad.
Wow, you know all the words. That's amazing.
That's the only words, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, I don't even know those.
uh,
The cheat is to the limit.
My nose is so itchy.
Alright. Oh, what do you guys think for a title?
Title. Come on. Are we just going to
I
go?
like Exoddit.
Oh, okay. So
But
we
that's
have a
me.
little controversy. A hacker, a faker, updated Mapmaker, or Exoddit.
Do we talk about hackers on the show? I don't remember that.
Flash,
Oh,
I guess.
who's a faker?
I will say that in the act of brevity, I might go with Exoddit. Oh well.
I will vote on it. There.
I think I like Exoddit.
Exoddit is getting a posse,
Yeah.
so I think we might be going with Exoddit.
Okay.
Veronica, yeah, you haven't expressed your definitive opinion yet, though.
I just don't care.
I just want it to be over.
I'm so tired.
Please let me go to sleep.
I'm gonna go see what's it called? Ant-Man soon.
Oh, really?
Oh, Rudd.
Yeah, at Dolby.
Is it a preview?
It is.
Is it a
Nice.
screener?
'Cause
Well,
I'm
that
a
doesn't
super
help
cool
us any.
guy. Super cool guy, Veronica Belmont here. Seeing Ant-Man early.
Yeah, you have to pay to see it again later to help our draft, though.
I'm not involved with your draft.
You should have been.
Well, you should stop doing it on gosh darn Tuesday nights.
What were you, flamenco dancing?
No, I have vaginal fantasy.
Oh, never mind. That's a good excuse. But that's when Night Attack is.
Well, that's dumb.
I don't know.
Dumb.
Talk to them.
I'm going to put that on your headstone.
But that's dumb.
No, but that night is vaginal fantasy, and it's put that in quotes.
That goes on her headstone? I don't get that.
That would make sense.
That would just be true. And also too late to see her on the show at that point.
Oh yeah, but
Actually, who was it? I think it was my dad. No, it wasn't my dad. Was it my mom? No, it was my grandma. Had her name on the headstone even before she died. Because it was one of those dual headstones. And they had put her husband's name on one side and he had passed away. And then it had her name with her birth year and then a dash and then a space.
yeah, but how do they do that with the same precision? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
don't have to-
when they add in the year later, it's cheaper because they did it all the rest of it at once. But it's going to look a little different. You're right.
Yeah, that's what, I don't know. I'm gonna do what my parents did and just pre-buy plots. They're really expensive now.
So
I'm getting buried
Veronica-
underneath a tree.
Yeah.
Pre-existing tree?
No, there's a thing in Italy that they're doing. I saw it in one of my many trolls of the internet, where they put you in a pod, like an egg, under a tree sapling, and then you grow.
A pot.
Not
So
at all
you get
creepy.
cremated and then
So you're
Nope.
tree fertilizer.
Your tree fertilizer.
you're feeding the
Oh,
tree.
that's nice.
Yeah.
You can be
You're like in a little. Your body's in like a little pod,
Right.
like an egg. You can look it up, and then it makes the tree grow. Maybe.
I already told Tom what I wanted.
Really painful if you're not actually dead.
Yeah, for sure.
I would have my remains spread over a large open field of corn or whatever, or wheat, and then when the wheat grows, it would be cut down and made into a cake in order not to have to eat it on the anniversary of my passing.
I
pretty
can't
elaborate.
wait. I hope I live long. I hope I outlive you so I can eat your cake.
All right, I gotta go take care of the Doge.
Okay. I forgot what I was going to ask you anyway. So.
It's okay.
Oh, is Vaginal Fantasy tonight?
No. Why?
Because tonight's Monday.
The last Tuesday of every. Oh, it's the last Tuesday of every month.
No, you're right.
Last Tuesday.
Last.
Last Tuesday.
Got it.
Happy
Did you
Monday,
know
everyone.
that Felicia Day and I have the same birthday, and Bonnie Burton and my wife have the same birthday? That's half of
you.
your cast.
Wow. Wowie, wow, wow.
All right, go take the dog out.
Okay. Wowie, wow, wow, Tom. Bye.
Cool story, bro.
Cool story, Tom. You're into star signs and astrology. And somehow we're all connected because of our birthdays.
Yeah, we're all
Wowie.
exactly the same.
Wowie, wow, wow.
So wow.
Bye.
Bye.
Jerk.
You know, her husband Ryan does that same wowie wow thing, and sometimes, for some reason, it hurts more when he does it. I don't know why.
It's because he does it without the ribbing that you get because you consider Veronica to be like a sister. He's just like,
I guess. Yeah.
His is more of a kind of a more of a, I don't know, more of a sneering wowie wow.
There's a punch to it. Yeah, there's a bite to it. It's good. I respect it. She says the last thing she said in the chat room. Well, folks, I thought that was a successful show.
It was a great show. Awesome.
Yep.
And you know I say that every time, but that's only because it's true.
Well, you could do it my way and just be super critical of it and not very enthusiastic until that one episode that like puts everyone on Mars. Then you're like, this was a good episode.
You're giving away your secret there.
That's the whole point. If you make everything special, nothing's special. And so you must pour scorn and criticism. It's what my parents have taught me through life. You got a 98. What happened to the other two? It's true.
Why did you miss two?
Yeah. Like, why'd you miss two?
Harsh. You know, my grandparents were like that, or my grandpa particularly on my mom's side was like that.
Actually, that's true. I've noticed that with especially people who were born into the Depression, we're less impressed with a lot of stuff. It's like you would really have to be like a barnstormer to really like, whoa, that's really good.
So true.
So, Roger, would you help me out with the video today? Because I'm in a slow upload location.
Yep, no worries.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Oh, so I've been up since 6:30, and it really does feel like time for a cold brew coffee of some kind.
Time for a cold brew.
Did you have to prepare for class? Is that why you were so up?
No, I did that late last night, and then I forgot I had a doctor's appointment at 8 a.m., which is, like, brutal.
I hate those, especially when I schedule it. It's like, oh, I'll wake up, I'll make it.
Then you realize, oh.
And then you forget to put your little reminder, like, a couple hours early, and you get 30 minutes, run out the door. Although, in this case, it's the dentist for me. It's like, damn it.
But I made it. I did all the things, and now I'm drooping.
And with that, we are done.
A little iced coffee and a large iced green tea. Now we're done.
I am out of the post.
Okay.
Stay tuned for a rerun of Vaginal Fantasy. No, Night Attack. Night Attack is coming up tonight. It's a real, honest-to-goodness attack on your night. Don't miss it on diamondclub.tv immediately following this parade of Nokia sentimentality.